My parents gave my entire education fund to my golden child sister's fashion dream. I fought back in court, and now karma has taken their house. At 29 years old, I often reflect on the years that shaped me, especially the ones that almost broke me. I was born and raised in a quiet town near Bristol, England. For as long as I can remember, I lived under the shadow of my elder sister Amelia. To the world she was charming, entrepreneurial, and the pride of our family. To me, she was the one I could never measure up to, not because I didn't try, but because the scales were always tilted in her favor. While I worked diligently, earning respectable grades and staying out of trouble, it was Amelia who got the spotlight for every trivial achievement. I'd volunteer, win small academic awards, or help around the house, but it was always her that my parents applauded. She talked about ideas. I executed plans. Still, the applause was never for me. Despite the imbalance, there was one anchor in my life: my grandfather, Arthur. He was a retired civil engineer, a quiet man with a firm belief in education. He and I shared long walks, discussions about world affairs, and dreams about the future. Before his passing, he told me that he had set aside a substantial fund, $62,000, to support my university education. "So you never have to worry about debt," he'd said. That promise became a silent motivation as I pursued my career in architecture. I was accepted into a prestigious postgraduate program in London and was eager to start. Tuition, materials, and living costs were high, but with the fund my grandfather left, I was confident and excited. But life, I would learn, has its own cruel sense of irony. I returned home one weekend after receiving my acceptance letter, hoping to share the news. What met me was not celebration, but a discomforting silence. My mother looked away. My father fidgeted with the TV remote. I sensed something had gone wrong, but nothing could have prepared me for what they eventually confessed. Months prior, they had given the entire education fund, every pound, to Amelia. She had pitched them her dream of launching an eco-fashion studio in Manchester. They believed in her vision so strongly that they handed over the inheritance. No questions asked. Without even informing me, let alone asking for my consent. The air drained from my lungs. This wasn't just money. This was the last gift from a man who believed in my future. I had honored that promise every day, studying hard, staying focused, and now it was gone. I asked why they didn't consult me. Their answer was astonishingly simple. She needed it more. Their justification was that I could take out loans like everyone else. That education was flexible, but a business opportunity like hers was time-sensitive. In their eyes, her ambition eclipsed mine. They never saw what they did as theft or betrayal. That made the sting even worse. I tried confronting Amelia, hoping at least she would show some remorse. Instead, she shrugged it off as if I were being dramatic. "It's just money," she said. "You'll earn it back." She mentioned something vague about repaying me in the future, but I had little faith in that happening. The bond I thought we shared as siblings disintegrated in that moment. After a week of sleepless nights and failed attempts to reason with them, I contacted a solicitor. Filing a lawsuit against one's own parents isn't something most people even consider. But I knew I had to act, not just for the money, but to stand up for what was right. That fund was legally willed to me. They had violated my trust, and more importantly, the wishes of the man who had saved it for me. The backlash was immediate. My parents were livid. They accused me of being selfish, of tearing the family apart. Amelia painted herself as a victim of my resentment. Within days, I was told to pack my bags and leave. They made it clear that by choosing legal action, I was no longer welcome in their home. I couch-surfed for months, staying with friends and working part-time jobs to keep myself afloat. Balancing court proceedings and preparing for school was exhausting. I went through moments where I doubted myself, wondered if I had taken it too far. But each time, I remembered Grandpa Arthur's quiet voice saying, "I just want you to have a good future." During the discovery phase of the trial, the truth began to unravel. Amelia's business was not the promising venture she had painted. Sales were abysmal, branding was inconsistent, and she had burned through most of the capital within the first year. Nearly all of the inheritance was gone, spent on a boutique lease, overpriced materials, and marketing gimmicks that never paid off. It became clear that my parents hadn't just gambled my future, they'd lost. But even then, they showed no remorse. In one of the final hearings, my mother hissed under her breath that I had always been jealous, always waiting for Amelia to fail. I realized then that they couldn't see past their own delusion. To them, I was the villain no matter what. The judge ruled in my favor. Although the full amount couldn't be recovered, the court ordered restitution. I received around $40,000, enough to start school without being buried in loans. On paper, it was a win, but emotionally the victory was hollow. The family I grew up with was now just a fractured memory. I moved to London soon after, diving into my studies and distancing myself from the pain. Over time, I built a new life. I graduated near the top of my class and eventually joined a respected architectural firm. The work was demanding, but it gave me purpose and stability. I found solace in friendships, in creating structures that would outlast temporary hurt. As for my family, we haven't spoken since the trial. I hear things secondhand through mutual acquaintances. Amelia's boutique declared bankruptcy less than 2 years after it launched. The debts were too high, and customer interest never took off. My parents, who had co-signed loans and borrowed against their savings to support her, ended up losing their retirement fund. Eventually, they had to sell the house, the same one they kicked me out of. Sometimes I wonder if they think about me, about the choices they made, if they regret betting everything on a dream that didn't include me. But I don't reach out, not out of revenge or resentment, but because some wounds only heal when they're left alone. Do I feel vindicated? In part, yes, but mostly I feel a sense of closure. The scales didn't balance through revenge, but through resilience. I learned to fight for myself when no one else would. I learned that being the forgotten child doesn't mean being worthless. It means you had to shine without a spotlight. Today, I live in a modest flat in East London. I still think about Grandpa Arthur when I walk past old bookstores or when I sketch a new building layout. His faith in me carried me through the darkest times, and I've honored that faith, not just by finishing my degree, but by becoming someone I think he would be proud of. I know many people would have made a different choice, perhaps stayed quiet, accepted the injustice, or held out for apologies that never came. But I chose to believe in fairness, even if it meant losing everything else. So to anyone listening, stand up for your worth. Don't let others define your value or steal your future, no matter how close they are. Family is supposed to protect you, not sacrifice you for convenience or favoritism. And if this story moved you, or if you've ever felt like the underdog in your own life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps more than you know,